my name's Joanne, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're here to stick around for the ride, make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you'd like my videos to pop up in your feed. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the 2018 story of Hidden Elements. I have a lot I'd like to talk about, but I only have so much time, so I have to do my best to keep it short. When me and a group of 4 friends were younger, we created 4 characters, each representing 4 main elements, like an avatar. Those are fire, water, air, and earth. The opposing force was the power of the dark, and the main protagonists were fighting for the light, as most tropey young adult books do. In the original Wattpad story, the description reads as follows. The elements are often perceived as magical, and that statement would be correct. It started with a dream. In the dream, 4 teenagers. In the dream, a black field. In the dream, a power almost too terrifying to imagine. In the dream, a terrible and mighty being, bent on revenge against the gods of old. In the dream, an adventure begins. And yet, that dream is heaven compared to what's next. Follow along as Alex, Cynthia, Animose, and Hannah in what I hope to be a thrilling adventure full of magic and discovery, where they can do one of 2 things. Sit back and watch the world be destroyed, or fight against arriving evil. Both options end in certain death. Maybe. Read to find that answer for yourself. Ironically enough, that he actually kind of had a standard team pace first-person shooter game team comp, like, Overwatch. Animose as a tank, Cynthia is a ranged, Hannah is a main DPS, and Alex is magic and healing. They all sported a little spirit stone, which was honestly a little bit like Genshin Impact's visions. We kind of made Genshin before it was cool, not to brag or anything. The way these stones worked was pretty unspecified. They weren't explored upon, at all. They were just rocks that made powers happen. The story was pretty well written. It just didn't go anywhere. We had done no prior planning, and we all had too many ideas to even, fit into one story. So it stopped after around 7 chapters. Fast forward 4 years, and I come across this animation that I created using one of the characters.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that...
Yeah, pretty great, right? Anyway, my first thought was, hey, I should remake this. But then I realized maybe the character didn't have a good design. I should redo this. Which turned into a piece of line art, which I lost to file corruption. Which I was sulking about for about a day, but then decided why not to design the rest of them. So I gathered my friends responsible for create the series and the other characters, and we all discussed what to change or add with both their designs and how they behave as character to give you this. Stick around towards the end to hear about the revamped version of this series. So please enjoy. Animose, renamed to Ayala, was our first one and was created by yours truly. Original Ayala was, named after the Greek word for wind, Animose. Nice going there. In terms of personality, she kind of had the personality of a tater tot. All we really knew about her was she was a caffeine addict, she was the youngest of the 4, and the only character with a driver's license. She's also Mediterranean somehow. I don't know. So for her redesign, I kept the dyed hair. It was a cute idea, and the pigtails just kind of fit her really well, especially considering her newer personality. So this is the common theme with most of these characters, but I tried to make it both stylish and movable. So she gets a skirt and the bow, true to her first design, and something that still fit with the area aesthetic. She also gets little cloud earrings, somewhat inspired by Pepe Madrigal. For her personality, she seems like an airhead. Not stupid, per se, but generally bubbly and doesn't know when she should shut up sometimes. Usually walks in with a big old grin on her face, fitting because she's the only one that actually does smile in the picture. This doesn't deviate too much from the original story either. Animose, who, again, named Ayala, loves coffee, and this is kind of an issue when she's out of commission after torturing a poor barista by having him let her sample every kind of coffee they had. And knowing her, especially the way I characterized her back then, she probably ordered one of every kind and finished it all, which had her pass out. Not good. Don't drink copious amounts of caffeine. This becomes a big problem later when they have to get around a long distance and she's passed out because she's the only one with a driver's license. Which brings us to Hana, who so kindly takes up the task of being a driver. Hana's our fire element. Originally, she had long hair and seemed to be kind of murderous. Not great for a hero, if you ask me. She seems a little more like a murderous child back then. What we know from the current series is that she has soft spots for animals and sad people, is the second youngest, seems like she'd rip you in half, and looks up to Alex like a brother she'd never had. She was a little unpredictable and incomplete, but this was her time to be revamped. She was a little unhinged for a good section of the chapter while Ayala was out of commission. She's pulled over, going not 1, not 5, but almost 90 miles over the speed limit, and talks her way out of it with bird facts. Way to go, superstar. Hana's design is a little plain, and it just kind of makes her look like the female and slightly redder version of Alex, so she gets some attributes that fit her, both her aesthetic and her personality. Honestly, a lot of the designs screamed, "Hey, look at me! I am the main character. I am the protagonist with a bunch of, powers because I am bright red." And it's not a bad idea to have them have elemental motifs. It was just executed so badly that it makes me cringe to think about. I am so sorry I ruined your characters, Anna. They are here to be redeemed, however. Hana now gets to sport a short burned off bob, like she canonically burned her hair off, and shorter clothes that are far less of a fire hazard. Also uses her bare hands to fight, which is cool, by the way. She used to have a knife, but I like the hands better. So the gloves are to keep Hana's hands from burning too much. That makes sense, right? I mean, the elements have a detrimental effect on the bodies of all of the users. So it would only make sense that Hana can get some sort of injury if she's not protected properly. She's still aggressive and ironically kind of cold, but still has a soft side. Next up is Alex, the token white boy of the group. What we know of him is that he was illiterate and stoic, generally kind of a drifter, and honestly kept wishing he was a better person. For whatever reason he was illiterate, also British, goes hand in hand. Alex is described as respecting everyone but never daring to tell them, as his character generally revolved around feeling too normal, which is a great concept but generally gave off the not like other girls vibe. He's still a little plain, but it fits his character. His hair is styled in this picture, and canonically his hair looks a little more like this naturally. He's generally a little pompous and still wants to better himself even further. He's kind of the I just want to get this over with and go home kind of guy. Hey, post-editing Damien here. The way I explained this was really awful. He wants to better himself in ways that do not pertain to the elements, which is why he just wants to get it over with and go home. I didn't do well at not making those sentences conflict, but yeah, that's actually what I meant. Yeah. And finally, Cynthia. Cynthia is described as an emotional mess, gullible, orphaned, and the oldest. She has the most personality changes of the four, now becoming somewhat more of a leader. She's cool and collected, most descriptive of Stillwater, but the major difference comes with her extreme emotions that are more like a raging torrent. Her original design was pretty cool with the white hair, but again, poorly executed. I hope I did a little better here with the white. Also, a headdress is not really practical, especially when you're a young adult living in 2022. And here they are. I decided to forego the little whatever blotchy pink was going on and highlighted them in their own respective element color. I really hope you enjoyed watching, and thank you so much. Since you stuck around to the end, I'm going to assume you're here to hear about the special promo for our webtoon. Welcome. It's just going to be me basically rambling about it. But basically, it's we've decided to take the old webtoon, which exists on Webtoon. Don't look it up, it's bad. But we're going to remake it, and it is a much more detailed and built story. So more will come for that. But if you are interested in looking at sneak peeks and updates of that, then you should look at my Patreon. Just saying, you should subscribe, and you can get to see the full episodes before they fully release on Webtoon. So if you would like to, if you think these characters are interesting, or you'd like to hear them, then or see them, then stick around and subscribe, and I will release more updates about it. So yeah, thank you.